Tariffs, the global meltdown. All right. Let's get into it. This is CNBC speaking about it, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Let's spend 10 minutes on this.
All of this signaling the market's idea that we're looking at much greater odds of a recession, not just here, but globally. Bitcoin actually dropping below 80,000 right now. It's at 76,470.
Well, 74 for a while. Yeah, it's a market phenomenon at this point, not economic, but it's getting awful close. And you look at junk bond spreads as well. That journal has a good piece on when you'll start to see the markets indicating that this is spreading to the economy.
Well, that's the question. I think there's a real issue about contagion. And it's possibly, by the way, a day away at the rate we're going.
Well, normally the dollar goes up.
When we break this down, I like to break it down from a C student's perspective, all right? When we break this down, don't get caught up in the jargon, all right? That's the best thing that I want to tell y'all. Do not get caught up in the jargon. The jargon is just to distract you. When they say it's a contagion, that just means that it's spreading across different industries, that it's spreading across different places, that it's going to be impacting this, that it's going to be impacting that. They use these terms a lot of times to make themselves sound smarter, to distract you. A lot of times they use it because they're used to using it. It's the same thing that happens in the tech industry. People say things, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not as smart just because you can't understand it. I'm going to break it down from y'all from a C student's perspective, and then I'm going to give my opinion as a result of it, all right? Don't get caught up in the jargon. Just pay attention to the main things and then try to make the most out of it.
Up when
it's not really
scariness like this, and it's not. It bounced
I don't know
on
if that's
Friday.
A reflection of the dollar.
That's a reflection
of
not confidence.
Flight to quality has gone to treasuries. It has not gone to the dollar.
What I'm saying is, I think you could start to see at some point there are going to be investment firms that are going to blow up that are on margin. There are going to be private credit operations that are going to run.
What does he mean by investment firms are going to blow up because they're on margin? All right. Has anybody ever gotten margin? I know there's some people in the chat that has, but I'm going to assume that we know nothing. And this is how we break it down from a C student's perspective. I'm not going to deep dive too far into it because I don't want you guys to be getting Patreon level game. I'm going to leave that out of it. I'm just speaking about it on a surface level. What they're saying is that investment firms are going to blow up because a lot of them are on margin. That means that they have a certain amount. All right. When you invest, when you put so much money inside of a trading account, right? When you put so much money inside of a brokerage account, in order to get approved to be able to trade on margin meaning that they basically extend you a line of credit based off of what you already have inside of the bank, okay? From a layman's terms, they're basically extending you a line. So, okay, you got 20,000, 30,000 just on the surface level. Let's say $100,000. That means that you can trade maybe $200,000 depending on what investment platform that you're using. Because they basically know that you're good for it. But what happens is when the market starts to tank because people overextend themselves, just because you have the availability of it doesn't mean that you're necessarily supposed to use it. A lot of people use it to make more in profit. Whereas if you were just using your money, whatever you make, whatever you lose, right? You make or you lose. Whereas if you then have this extension based off of what you qualify for, that means that when you start to have turmoil on the side of the market, it's called a margin call. That means they're calling back in the money that they extended you because the bank may be having some liquidity problems. They may be having a little bit of trouble. They've extended themselves too much. And so now they're going to call you and say, hey, hold on for a second, big dog. We're going to have to go ahead and have that in. Or you're going to have to put some more money in the bank in order to justify, you know what I'm saying, how extended you are, how leveraged you are, and whatever it is that you're invested in because it's some turmoil in the market. You either going to have to make a deposit or we calling back in whatever it is that you invested in. 9 times out of 10, unless the market is really messed up and it's in turmoil, they're going to require you to basically make a deposit so you can shore up your account based off of where you're leveraged in the market. And what they're saying is, and this is the main reason why you see so much turmoil, so many people complaining. Most of the people that's sitting here inside of this chat, all right? It's like using a marker against the casino. Most of the people that's sitting here inside of this chat that's saying, oh my God, the market is falling or whatever, they ain't even got no money invested in the market. They just speaking off of headlines that other people are saying to try to justify their hate for Trump. Most of the people, listen, fam, you work at Amazon, you got a regular job, you never even invested in your 401k. You was just reaching out to me for a coaching call because you didn't even know what a Roth IRA was. You're not affected. Go to work tomorrow. We're going to figure it out. We're going to make sure that you get this money and get you some insight so that you can start dollar cost averaging. Join a Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. You're not the one that they're writing about. I guarantee you. Some people are sitting there talking about they ain't even have $1,000 to even get if they had an emergency. You're not affected. Don't worry about it. You still got your job. Go to work tomorrow. Join the Patreon. I'm going to get you up to speed so you can understand the 8 things that we look for when we looking to invest in a company. They not talking about you. We not talking about you. You're just talking and repeating headlines that you heard from another liberal. We not talking about you. You're not affected. Go to work. Take care of your business. Pay your child support. The reason why all of the headlines are so crazy and everything is red is because these investment firms are over leveraged. They never corrected. They never took their money out, their profits, and then continue to dollar cost average. They don't play the same game that we play. So when they have problems, they have $1 billion problems. They have liquidity issues. They're taking other people's money and they invest in it, and they're investing it wrong. They didn't anticipate what was going to happen in the market. And just because other investment firms who are getting rich, these are the same people that y'all was complaining about. They've been getting rich all of this time. It doesn't mean that we're not supposed to do what we're supposed to do for the United States of America to bring jobs back. And so this is a market correction. Their loss is your gain. So if they over leveraged or they have all of these dumb issues that's within their, that's a them problem. That's not a us problem. We don't have liquidity issues. We not invest in other people's money. We not worried about that. We're going to continue to dollar cost average. We not drawing from our retirement today. We not tripping about it. I don't care about what these problems are being had within these investment firms. You know what I figured out in 2008? They going to be all right. They going to figure it out. They got big money. They got big bonuses. Not worried about it at all. I'm worried about the regular everyday folk who need to get a job, who has to have access, who don't necessarily want to go to college right out of high school, but they want a decent paying job to be able to take care of their family. Maybe they get a 401k. Maybe they get an investment account. Maybe they got a benefit package that also includes them being able to go to school for free and stuff like that. And then we leapfrog off of that and we get you to being a millionaire, an everyday millionaire without having to do all of this extra stuff and finessing. That's the people that I'm speaking to right now. I don't care about the investment firms. I don't care about the banks. I don't care about any of them. Banks fail every day, B. Every day banks fail.
Into trouble that won't be able to provide credit to small businesses and large businesses.
And that's when it starts to go to the economy itself.
Well, but by the way, by default,
I think it already is.
By default, this is already forecasting it's what we all think is going to happen in the economy. But yes, is this already going to impact the economy? Do you think that retirees who are watching the broadcast right now are running out to buy a new anything right now? No.
I've got a daughter graduating next month. Like, what's the job market look like? What are companies going to do?
Right. Everybody's freaking out of their minds, and so this is like
it's good to keep
a true man-made disaster.
It is. It's self-inflicted, and they got too cute by a factor of about 10 with the way they calculate.
Join a live stream on Patreon if you're asking me. I got about 5 different companies that I'm going to go through that I'm personally invested in, that I'm looking to shore up my position in, that I'm going to be taking advantage of. We're going to break down the charts. We're going to break down exactly what the fundamentals of the company are. And I'm going to break it down from a C student's perspective so that you guys can understand it. All right?
Calculated the tariffs, because the tariffs are not nearly as high as what that weird equation brought. And it allowed them to make an offer that seemed reasonable, like a half, which really wasn't a half. Right. It's much higher than that. And that allows them, I think, to pretend that they're giving a little when they're really just getting this. It shouldn't be over.
But here's the next problem. If you're the administration, the longer this goes on, the harder it actually is to make a good deal. Meaning to actually walk away with a win. Because if you are a foreign country today, if you're President Xi today, who, by the way, has a lot more patience than I think we do, who sits around and actually says, this guy's not only going to be under pressure from us, he's under pressure from his own people.
He is, but we're still in a much stronger position than anyone we're trying to extract concessions from.
The one thing that Trump is not worried about, because Trump is playing a long game. First of all, Trump is not even 6 months into his second term. He has a long runway. And I believe this is one of the reasons why they were moving with the speed of an Olympic sprinter, to try to get things done, to try to make sure that they get the layoffs done as far as all of these different government entities, to try to make sure that they get these tariffs in place now, is because they need to start having results by year 2, year 3, and then obviously going into year 4, because that's going to be election season, and people need to start seeing the results of the tariffs and how it benefits the United States of America. So I'm not really sure that Trump cares about what people think within the first 2 years at all. Not even a little bit. I don't think that he cares about what people think within the first 3 years. I think that this is exactly what we need from an administration to do the heavy lifting, so that we can then benefit from it long term. Everything is not going to happen tomorrow.
And they're going to get. They can try to wait us out and say, "Wow, Trump's under." I don't know how much pressure.
We just don't want to be the king of the losers.
Right.
The best.
You don't know how much pressure Trump's under. I think
know
that we are about to come to a
pressure.
point where he hasn't been under pressure, in part because he's scared everybody from talking out loud and saying bad things.
He's
going to
get Republicans in Congress.
But I think right now you're about to start to see the dam break when it comes to Republicans in Congress.
Right.
I think business folks.
There are already 7 senators, Republican
this
senators.
is where you start.
Business folks who have been too scared to say anything. I think you're starting.
This is where you trot out the Vietnam, or we had 50 calls over the weekend. But there's also some people saying that they weren't that nice about the 50 calls that they got, and they're saying no, that's not enough. That they're still standing tough. Maybe that changes though. Yardeni's going to come on. He's right. If you were to see, or what Ackman suggested, take 30 days, take 90 days before you put, that would be to
negotiate before you put these things
before you put them on. The other thing,
by the way, that strategy to me separately is probably going to create.
Somebody said we will lose. What are you going to lose, low key? What exactly do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? Tell me what you're going to lose. People, when I see people talking generalities, what are you going to lose?
Just as much uncertainty, because all of a sudden we're going to be the same way that we sit with this TikTok deadline, every 75 days, and that there's another 75 days to go. If you announce that there's a 90-day moratorium, the markets may like it marginally, but they're not really going to like it that much, because they're going to say, okay, now we have another 90 days of this.
Right. Things to keep in mind, just in perspective. On an absolute level, these numbers aren't really that scary. It's giving back about 2 years of really big gains, admittedly. But I
just talked to Yardeni in the makeup room. This would be one of the fastest entries into bear market in history.
Yeah, and with no exogenous.
If we open it with no other thing that's causing it. If you're looking at today's losses, if they continue at the levels we're looking right now,
in a bear market.
But you're also looking at the S&P having the biggest losses they've seen since 1987.
It's quickly
over 3 days.
Just to put it in perspective, again, we were sweating getting up above 4,000 and worried about a retest, the Mike Wilson 3,000 retest of the lows and the worst case scenario. We're breaking under 5,000.
How many of you guys, just a quick question, I want to get over to Scott Bissett, the Treasury Secretary, and him speaking on whether or not we're actually headed for a recession or not. How many of you guys that are in this chat, it's over 5,000 of y'all right now, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. How many of you guys that are watching this right now How many of you guys that are watching this right now, don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Don't you lie to me, because I know what the statistics say about the average net worth and the average earning and what y'all are complaining about now. How many of you guys, since 2008, net worth actually exploded to over 500,000, 600, 700, 800, 900,000, $1 million plus. How many of you guys actually were able to ride the wave of success from this previously, the last time that we actually had something that was huge, right? Going back before 2020 with the whole pandemic. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about the pandemic too on top of it. Since 2008, some of y'all wasn't even outside, so you can absolve yourself from this conversation. How many of you guys actually got rich over the last 16 years? How many of you guys got rich over the last 16 years? Because I want to be real. Like, I want to bring it back down to reality for most of us. For most of us, I want to bring it back. I'm not speaking to billionaires right now. I'm speaking to us, regular, everyday people that's tuned in because you love the entertainment, and then hopefully I can put the medicine inside of the candy. Okay, so if the overwhelming majority of y'all are saying that you didn't get rich, kids, cover up your ears. I ain't even going to say the word. Don't even worry about it. Then what the F are you talking about, worrying about whether or not the market is doing whatever it is what it's doing, if you're not even benefited from it in the first place? Because the only way that you could be worried about it is if you made some short-term bets recently and you never enjoyed the run-up that happened since 2008 in the first place. If most of y'all was just sitting on the sideline trying to figure out whether or not you can find a job and if you can afford eggs, because I've seen a lot of people talking about eggs. If you was one of the ones that was just 3 weeks ago sitting there asking me about the price of eggs, you never benefited from the run-up in the first place. What are we talking about? Your conversation should be completely different. Your conversation has to be, okay, listen, I seen what happened from the previous run-ups. I seen what happened in 2020. I seen what happened in 2008. I seen what happened in 2016. All right, so I don't want to miss out again. What are we doing? Because you can't lose what you never had. You cannot lose what you never had. You can't complain about something you don't have. You should be laughing all the way to the bank, getting ready to prepare yourself to capitalize off of what is going on. So you just watching and commenting and you ain't even getting no money from this? You don't have a vested interest either way. You just protesting for no reason? And if you're not using Trump to get yourself rich, I'm a conservative. I am a Republican. I want what's best for America, but I'm going to be absolutely honest and transparent with you guys. It does not matter who's president of the United States of America as far as my own personal finances. My daughter is going to be straight. My family is going to be straight. I'm going to get rich no matter what. Whether it's a Democrat or a Republican in office, I am going to get rich no matter what. I'm always going to be straight. If you understand how money works, if you understand what's going to happen when the Republicans come in, if you understand what's going to happen whether or not the Democrats is in, then you know. Nobody that is a billionaire is not going to be a billionaire. Nobody that's a millionaire is going to lose it all. We're going to get richer. Don't you know that every administration, no matter what happens, it becomes a bigger wealth gap between the rich and the poor? I am going to be unaffected either way. I am a conservative and I am a Republican because I have values that more closely align with my Christianity. I don't believe in immigration into this country. I don't believe that we should have men and women's bathrooms. I do believe in a family structure, and I want to leave this earth in a better space had I not been here. No matter what, I'm still going to get richer. So you're asking the wrong questions. If you're coming at me and you're saying, Anton, see, I can't believe it. I'm going to get rich going down and I'm going to get richer going up. I'm going to ride the wave and I'm going to capitalize off of the market, shorten it. And I'm going to ride the wave and I'm going to capitalize off of the market, making sure that I reinvest in and taking the profits and putting it back in and I'm going to get it back up. You're asking the wrong questions. Black people that are watching this, poor people that are watching this, my 50, my 60, my 70,000, my 100, my $200,000 a year people. If you're not making at least $500,000 a year, you're asking the wrong questions. What questions should we be asking ourselves? Arguing over politics is something that we should be doing as entertainment in our spare time. It's something that you should be discussing with your family. How we get rich is the questions that we should be asking ourselves. If somebody is dusty in this chat telling me because they have a liberal mindset, but they're not objective enough to separate themselves from how they feel, from how they capitalize off of the market, you're having the wrong conversations. And for my black people, the ones that are at the bottom of the totem pole collectively, I'm not talking about your own individual situation, but collectively. Fam, you too broke to be sitting here having a conversation about how you feel about the market when you're not even invested. You trying to sell hair, dog. You a sports bettor. You trying to figure out how to be an options trader. Well, what are we talking about? Y'all was just arguing with me last week about whether or not black men can read. We having the wrong conversations. You too broke to be this concerned about whether or not something that ain't even affecting you is happening. You need to be having a whole nother conversation, big dog. What you talking about the market? You don't even own a home. Man, look at real estate prices. You live in your mama's basement. You planning on buying a home soon? Interest rates are affecting you. You want to know what the rates are, what's happening with real estate agents, and whether or not they're going to take 6% or 3%? Do you even know what I'm talking about? You know what a REIT is? Man, I can't believe this. Trump, man, he must be racist. What you talking about? Yo, you just got your car broke into by Ray Ray right next door to you. Man, look at the KKK in Ohio. Money ain't everything, says a broke person that's asking for taxpayer handout dollars so that they can feed their family. Okay. Go over to Mexico and tell me that money ain't everything. Well, they ain't giving you no handouts. Anyways, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. Sometimes we just got to come back down to reality and say, what are we talking about? What are you talking about, dog? Don't you know that I never, ever, honest to God, real talk. It wasn't until this election season that I ever had a conversation about abortions. You know why? Because I was not affected by abortions. I only started getting involved in a conversation because it was a cultural norm and it started to be a shift. And I'll be looking at it like, man, this is important. I'm rich enough to be concerned about issues that don't even have anything to do with me now because I want the world to be better. You know, you start having a philanthropic mindset or, I don't like that. We need to change our community. You want to start doing stuff to help people. I was rich enough to start caring about things that didn't even affect me. I mean, you think I care about whether or not she have an abortion? That is a luxury for me to start being concerned about something that I ain't even involved in. I ain't worried about. I got a vasectomy. My daughter is 17. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. But I care because I have the luxury and the privilege to be able to do so now. Because I have some extra time on my hands to entertain the conversation. Before that, I had to be concerned about getting this money. You know what, dog? I mean, I know y'all talking about getting an abortion over there, but let me go get this money. Man, I don't even... Shut up. Go to work. Do some overtime and get this money. You ain't got time to be focused on that, big dog. That's a luxury. That's extra.